If you've been on the internet in the last, say, 15 years or so, you've definitely heard this song before. And if you've heard this song before, you've probably seen this video before, which means you have definitely seen these three girls before. But can you name them? I'll give you a few seconds. This is Vera, this is Mindy, and this is Nadine, and they are the members of the fictional band The Caramella Girls, who is now the credited band behind caramelldansen. And I say now because caramelldansen was actually sung by the group Caramel and then retroactively credited to the Caramella Girls in order to capitalize on the song's popularity and attempt to establish them as an already successful girl group, despite the fact that they did not exist when the song was released. But if you want a whole video on that, I recommended this video by Jan Miseli. But we're not here to talk about the song itself. We're here to talk about the Caramella Girls, who I'll remind you are named Mindy, Vera, and Nadine. Now, you may be like, didn't you just design a group of three girl pop stars with one being blonde and peppy, one being shy and cool-toned, and one being the bold leader? And to that, I say, a sponsor segment! I am constantly working on the go, whether it's drawing while hanging out with my friends or editing a video while at my desk at work, which means I've been taking my iPad and MacBook with me almost everywhere. However, almost everywhere does not have an easily accessible charger for me to use to charge these extremely power-hungry pieces of modern technology. But thankfully, our sponsor Ugreen has come in to save the day. Ugreen very kindly sent me this box made in collaboration with Honkai Star Rail, which is themed around Yaoguang. Like, look at this presentation, this is incredible! Included was Ugreen's 10,000 mAh MagFlow magnetic power bank, which comes with an attached USB-C cord for both input and output. And of course, the main feature is the wireless 15-watt Qi 2 charging that can fully charge my phone twice before needing to be plugged in again. If that's not enough for you, they also sent me the Nexode Pro power bank, which outputs 45 watts, which also comes with an attached cable, which is good because I misplace mine all the time, and has a light-up display with the battery percentage and wattage output. To charge these up when I get back home, they sent me the Nexode Air 65-watt charger that is just as beautifully designed as the rest of the kit. Plugged in with the retractable cable, of course. As I'm reading the script, I'm about to get on a plane to go on vacation, which means the timing couldn't have been more perfect to show these off. They fit perfectly in this appropriately themed Yaoguang pouch and will be at the ready when I inevitably have to sit at the airport for 4 hours. Inside, I'll be placing Ugreen's Find Track, which connects to my iPad and allows me to track it in case they lose my luggage. Make sure to check out these gorgeously stylish and incredibly powerful and practical items from Ugreen's Yaoguang collection for a chance to win a special golden collectible card! Thank you so much to Ugreen for partnering with me on this video and supporting the channel! Now, let's take a look at the Caramella Girls. Let's visit the Caramella Girls official website to see what we're working with. First is Mindy, the bubbly sunbeam. Mindy is the ray of sunshine in the group. With her bubbly, happy, and always positive attitude, she lights up every room she enters. Her energy is contagious, making her an important member of this girl power squad. Well, I sure hope so, there's only 3 of them. Next is Nadine, the sweet songbird. Nadine is the sweet and shy heart of the group. Sensitive and kind, she brings a gentle touch to their music and dance. Her voice soothes the soul, and her caring nature makes her popular among fans. I don't know what they're measuring that metric by, but moving on. And finally is Vera, the bold adventurer and the leader. Did y'all know that she was the leader? I actually didn't know that. Good for her. Vera is the adventurous spirit of the trio and a bit of the leader. What does that mean? Bold and fiercely loyal, she's always ready for the next big adventure. Her daring personality adds a thrilling edge to their performances, making every show unforgettable. And she's also ethnically ambiguous. Give it up for ethnic ambiguity. One of her listed spoken languages is Spanish, so I'm going to assume she's Latino or Hispanic in some way. Now, taking a look at their original designs, they are not all that much to work with, but the website actually gave them a couple of alternate looks that are not atrocious. I'm specifically a pretty big fan of these 3. The artist who did these is unfortunately uncredited, but they did a really great job capturing each girl's essence. I think that Mindy and Vera actually look really good, apart from being a bit monochrome, and a few other minor changes I'd make. Nadine is definitely the weakest of the 3, and I'm kind of upset that they've kind of retconned her hair into being like this dark warm purple instead of the lilac that it originally is. However, the most iconic version of these girls are definitely their original 3D models, which are certainly interesting to say the least. So, armed with a couple of existing designs and a mood board, let's reimagine the Caramella girls. Here is the mood board I ended up making for the three of them. As you can see, I placed their original designs in the middle, but also had some of their alternate designs on the side that I liked the most. They are kind of ambiguously aged, as I see with most fictional girl bands, but I decided to place them firmly in the late teens, early 20s category. And as you can see from the mood board, I really wanted to give each girl a distinct style. Their original outfits are certainly interesting, to say the least. In my opinion, Vera's is the strongest, but that is not saying very much. They all have the same length skirt and thigh-high socks, which is extremely boring. So I wanted to make sure I added some diversity in their silhouettes and the pieces that they include in their outfits. Since there's only three of them, we might as well go in the order I drew them in, so let's start with Vera. Vera's defining trait, other than being ethnically ambiguous, sometimes, is her very large twin tails that she has in pretty much every design that is listed on the website. Sometimes they're different sizes, sometimes they're in different places on her head, but they are always there, so I could not get rid of them as much as I wanted to. While I do think that pigtails are cute for the most part, they are a little difficult to design around, so I decided to do a bit of a cop-out and go with the kind of what I'm calling the Natsuki approach. Basically, two smaller twin tails tied up with a bit of her hair peeking out from the bottom. That way, we still have the pigtails in concept, but I'm given a bit more freedom with the silhouette of her hair. The girls also all have very similar bangs, just being straight down and kind of messy. So I decided to give Vera some fuller bangs with some hair vents, mainly to make her look more symmetrical. But after that, I decided to make her entire design perfectly symmetrical. And I don't know, there's some symbolism there about her being the leader, so she's always in the middle, so she's symmetrical, I don't know. I decided to give her some long ribbons in her hair as well, not only for a pop of color when I actually start coloring, but also to make the silhouette a bit more interesting. In hindsight, I'm actually pretty glad I kept the pigtails with the ribbons because I feel like it's a nice contrast to the rest of her outfit, which is pretty tomboyish, because I feel like it's fairly common for characters with the bold stereotype to be characterized as exclusively tomboy with a hatred for anything feminine. But that's not really how people are in real life. People love to mix up their styles. So even though Vera is arguably the most tomboyish of the group, I still wanted her to have some of that girlish charm, you could say. When it comes to the colors, her skin tone is pretty inconsistent through all of her official art. Obviously, in comparison to the other original models, hers is the most tan, but once we get into her later official art, she is barely distinguishable from the other girls in terms of skin tone, which is disappointing but not surprising. So I made her just a bit darker than her original 3D model because I feel like it was already pretty pale, and I also darkened her hair. It's still definitely brown, but more of a realistic brown. I do appreciate that she has brown eyes though. I feel like that's kind of bare minimum, but it is always appreciated when POC characters are given brown eyes like we often have in real life. Her official color is of course red, and she's very monochromatic in most of her official art, except for sometime having pops of green, which I really like, so I decided to make her cargos green. Then on the fly, I decided that I wanted all of them to have the same pattern on their shirts, but with different shapes. And since Vera is the leader, I decided her shape would be a star. Also, for a bit more visual interest on her bare upper arms, I decided to give her some suntan tattoos. You know, where people put stickers on their skin and then they go out in the sun for a little bit and then it tans around the sticker. In hindsight, I made these a little bit too light, so I do darken them before the final image. And speaking of the final image, here is my redesign of Vera from the Caramella girls. Isn't she cute? I'm a little biased, but I think she ended up being my favorite. Moving on to our next Caramella girl, we have Nadine, and she is definitely the most visually interesting of the original three, being that she is the only one with both unnaturally colored hair and unnaturally colored eyes. Like I mentioned, they did kind of retcon this in future official art of her. In literally every single render except her original 3D model, she has this kind of warm purpley colored hair, which is fine, but it is definitely not this original lavender that she has, which I think is really unique. And I understand why they did this, but the lilac was so nice. So when I started sketching, I obviously wanted her hair to be a focal point. I kind of wanted her to look like she's from another world, very ethereal, mysterious. And as you can see from her mood board, the style I decided to go for with her is a cubie? A kubie? Just look at it. I wanted her to be a bit more alternative than the other girls, but still wanted her to match them a fair amount. She actually ended up being extremely straightforward, so I don't really have a lot to say about her outfit. My main grievance with her original is just that it is a little strange. Can't really put my finger on why. Maybe it's the Genshin Impact effect of the detached sleeves and high-necked shirt combined with a short skirt and thigh-high socks. But she really does look like she's from something else, and it's not ever really explained because for the most part her other designs match extremely well with Vera and Mindy's. But yeah, in this original she's just kind of alien princess looking. So I definitely wanted to tone that down for her final design. Since they all have thigh-high socks in the original, I decided that I wanted at least one of their final designs to have the thigh-high socks. Except now that I'm looking at it, Nadine actually might just have really tall boots. But I'm interpreting them as socks for this design. I gave her a black mini skirt with matching black thigh highs. Is it a little fan servicey? Maybe. I don't actually draw super short skirts that often. I normally elongate skirts when I'm redesigning characters, so I thought she could serve a little as a treat. As I was coloring her hair, I realized she looked a lot like Kyoko Kirigiri from Danganronpa, and I just kind of had to take that L because I love the lavender hair and blunt cut bangs too much to change them. I didn't realize that Kyoko also has purple eyes. Whatever, maybe Nadine was the ultimate detective in high school. Other than that, I decided that her signature shape would be a diamond because I'm predictable. I slapped that on her sweater and she is done. Here is Nadine. She ended up being relatively simple, but I think that's to her benefit. I think she looks really cute. Moving on to our final girl, we have Mindy, and she actually gave me so much trouble. As you can see from the Millinote board, I wrote down Gyaru Pop Princess X 2010's Disney Channel original movie protagonist, and I thought that I had the strongest references for her, but I still was so lost with what to do with her outfit. And I try a bunch of different ones before I finally settle on one I like. Her base design is probably the most boring of the original three, though that's not really saying much. She's blonde, blue-eyed, has a high ponytail, and apparently a sailor uniform. Maybe they put her in this to kind of make her look like Sailor Moon. I'm not really sure, but I knew that that definitely had to go. With her being blonde and her main color being blue, it was a lot of work to make her not look like Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls, but I actually think that a lot of her alternative looks on the Caramella Girls official website are pretty cute. I think the sports one with the baseball hat is pretty interesting. I like how they keep making her ponytail bigger. It makes her silhouette very interesting, to say the least. My favorite of her alternate outfits, though, is this one that I put on the Millinote board. It changes up her bangs from all of the other ones and gives her kind of a club outfit, and I think this one is really cute and highlights her personality pretty well, so this was the main one that I based my design off of. I gave her heart-shaped bangs because, spoiler alert, her shape will be a heart, but like I mentioned, I really struggled with her outfit. I wanted her to be the most Y2K looking of all three of them, and originally I kind of wanted to incorporate the original silhouette of the sailor uniform, but it just wasn't working very well. And she was giving me so much trouble that I started on her first and finished her several days after the other two. But luckily, stepping away from her for a few days gave me a lot of insight on what I wanted to do for her design. Since Vera had no sleeves and Nadine had long sleeves, I kind of wanted to give her mid-length sleeves. And since both Vera and Nadine covered their midriffs, I wanted Mindy to show hers off, which kind of ties back into her original design a little bit. I also decided I also wanted her to have a short skirt, but I wanted it to be flowier than Nadine's. And then after deciding on that, I decided I wanted her entire outfit to be flowy. So I gave her a tied crop top with loose sleeves. The tie kind of sort of resembles the necktie that she has in her sailor uniform. And this is also perfect for showing off her midriff, and I gave her a belly button piercing because I don't think I've ever given a character of mine a belly button piercing. And overall, I just ended up leaning into that whole beachy, summery look, which I think is really cute and fitting for her. I gave her some heart earrings, a heart necklace, hearts on her bracelet. I wish I would have made her piercing heart-shaped too, but I just thought of that just now. And she doesn't have any socks, but I imagine she might be wearing leg warmers or something. I don't know, I love a good leg warmer. And similar to Nadine, her hair makes up the majority of her silhouette here, but I actually really like that. Finally, I just incorporated the blues that she has in the majority of her designs. She ended up being the most monochromatic except for her hair, but I feel like that's okay. I wanted to incorporate a few pinks, but I didn't want her to end up looking like Barbie, so I kept them out. And finally, after a couple more heart motifs, she is done. Here is our final Caramella girl, Mindy. Do you remember the Caramella girls? If so, did you have an attachment to any of them? Which redesign is your favorite? Personally, mine is Vera, but I am a little bit biased. I know this is kind of a weird video concept, but I've been fascinated with the Caramella girls ever since I first watched the caramelldansen video, probably in middle school. So let me know if there's any other weird niche characters you want me to redesign. As always, thank you to my supporters on Patreon. My patrons get early access to video art, as well as some exclusive content like exclusive videos. My $7 patrons get their names listed on screen, just like this. And my $10 patrons get their name read aloud at the end of my videos. Thank you so much to the people who will pay for me to buy 20-foot speakers for me to blast caramelldansen out of my window for all of my neighbors to hear. My $10 patrons, Puntastic Artist, Little Wolfine, Viyun, Neko Jack, Dreaming Daystorm, Bumby Bumblebee, Strawberry Soda Ken, Cheeseman Official, Leon, Whimsigoth Cowboy, All Cape No Cow, Ghosty, and the Meme Bugs. As well as all of my other patrons, all of my subscribers, everybody who watches this video, everybody who likes and comments. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. If you're not new, make a new account and subscribe again. I'm Lucky Inkyo, and I will see you very soon.